Welcome to the CEO Card Show. I'm your host and coach, Rebecca Nesbitt. And if you've been here before, I may look a little bit different. I am no longer blonde, and today we're going to talk about it. But more than just a hair color, we're talking about the journey of really finding yourself as a human and as an entrepreneur. I heard recently in a coaching session that when we start to change outwardly, maybe we change our hair color, we get ourselves a tattoo that's new too, then it's a sign that things have really shifted on the inside and we're starting to mirror that on the external now. So that's the story that we're telling today. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And we're going to talk about three things that really helped me go from this idea of this like overworking hustle culture blonde to a very chilled out, and though it doesn't look chilled out, it's a vibrant, but it's a chilled out red. And if you're right now Googling, who am I? If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're just the little engine that could and you keep going and nothing's happening, then this is really a conversation for you, my friend. And this started months ago. This started in March of this year. We were just about to deliver our first event in Houston, Texas. So the CEO crowd started as a membership community in September of last year. And in the March, I thought, now's the time we should be going to in-person events. Online events like are dialed in. We know how we get leads. We're maxing out. This looks good for us. Let's go to the next level. Let's take on this next version of events. Let's get people together in person, because as much as we love the online space, there is nothing better than an in real life hug. I thought, let's bring this together now and let's do it everywhere that I go in the world. Like if I go somewhere, how do I connect with people that are in that area? How do we put on an event together? How do we create something? And it got to be a lot, from weekly events, which a lot of people are like, I can't believe you host weekly events, and that's accurate. It takes a lot of energy to host a weekly event, not only the hosting it, but getting lead generation for it and, crafting different parts each week. We don't just do pitches, we do conversation, and to keep up with your social media, to keep up with your podcast or your YouTube, to do all the things, then it takes a lot. And a lot of people will not commit to weekly events. I was in a room of, I think it was like 2,000 entrepreneurs, and about 8% put their hands up to say they were hosting weekly events. And nobody clarified if that was live, just saying we do all ours live. So I'm not saying that we're special, but I am saying that we took on a lot. And I was like, let me put more on my plate. Can I put more on my plate? Yes, let's do that. So the day before this event, I was like, I'm stressed. We have an event tomorrow. It's not fully coming together in my mind. And usually that means something divine is going to happen, but I didn't realize that by then. I was just like too like lost in the sauce. And I was stressed. And I, in the evening, was hungry, and I had dragged my husband around Houston all day. I didn't like the decor in the place that we had booked, so I thought, we'll just change the decor. We'll just buy a bunch of decor. And that's what we'd spent our day doing. It's like 7 o'clock. My husband likes to be in bed for 8, and we haven't eaten. And I'm just like, I'm stressed and irritable, and that's not how I ever want to show up for my relationship. My husband hasn't eaten, and that is the only time he will ever be irritable, is when he's hungry. So I thought, this is not good. And we have to eat, and we have to eat quickly. So I'm plant-based, so we had to find somewhere that was plant-based, and we found a buffet restaurant. And I thought, this is perfect. Let's just go right now. Let's get in the car. Let's go there and let's eat, and everything will simmer down, because I was essentially pushing off so many emotions that I've already spoken about, the kind of overworking and the taking on too much and the stress. I was pushing that away and just saying, I'm just hungry, which when you solve that problem, you can look at the rest. But I just thought, this is like priority number one. Let's get food. So we go to this restaurant. It's called Govinda's. It's in Houston. Highly recommend. You'll hear why in a second. And we get there, and this is not just a restaurant. This is a temple. This is a huge temple in the middle of Houston, very close to where we usually go to see family. Had no idea it was there. No idea. It's like behind a Chipotle and a Burger King and a Chili's and all the things. It's like behind all of this just by itself. And it was beautiful. So I'm thinking this can't be it, but it is. We walk through the front entrance, turn right. There's the restaurant. We go in the restaurant. The people are so freaking nice. They take us in, they seat us, they get us different drinks, they teach us how to use the buffet system. They're just so kind. They ask us if it's our first time there. They start explaining about their culture and their faith. And I am very much a spiritual nomad. I love exploring spirituality and religion. One of my favorite subjects at school was RMPS, Religious, Moral, Philosophical Studies. If you're in Scotland, you know what's up. If you're not, it's just about essentially religion and philosophy. And I love to hear about other people's cultures. I think it's so interesting. Personally, I have my own beliefs, but I'm just telling you this story, so I'm going to tell you about this temple. This temple is a Krishna consciousness temple. So, love that. Obviously come from a background of yoga, so very in line with teachings I've heard before. So I was like, this is so interesting. And we sit down, we eat. The food is the best food I've ever tasted in my entire life. It's so good. The world's best poppadoms. Oh my lord, a moment for the poppadoms. The food is so good. Now, I am not expecting much. This meal has cost $13. It's $13 for the buffet. So I'm aware of this and I'm thinking there's no way. I don't know this. I'm not expecting anything. And I literally show up at a temple and I'm like, what's going on? Divine intervention. So we finish our meal, and all throughout my meal, my husband is staring at me. Now, this is not abnormal, the look of love, y'all, but he's just staring and he has the biggest smile on his face. And I'm like, what are you staring at? I think he's saying nothing, nothing, nothing. And after we eat, we're very fortunate. We get invited to the temple, we go for a walk around, we meet an older gentleman who explains a lot about their religion, and it's just amazing. It just filled my whole heart and soul. It's exactly what I didn't know I needed, and I believe that was divine in itself. I have not converted, that's not my path, but this experience just literally changed my life. So then we leave. My husband is still staring at me, and it's a little bit more than usual. So I'm like, honey, you really need to tell me. I'm like convinced there's something on my face. And he says, I haven't seen you this happy, content, and smile in the last 6 months. Talk about a dagger in the heart and twisted. Oh my gosh. I just, in that moment, I thought, I've got all of this wrong because the 6 months prior was the first 6 months of building the CEO crowd, which is one of the biggest blessings of my life. And there I was in the middle of it all, stressed and just freaking delighted to eat a poppadom that had been blessed by a deity for 15 minutes before I ate it. Oh, it was such an experience. And I had been working just so hard all the time. I had a joke with my husband as well. We both had this joke because we're very similar. This is why we mesh. And we were like, who are we when we're not working? We'd get to the weekends and we'd think, oh, what do you want to do? And we just end up working because we could and there was something to do. And if I do it today, then I won't have to worry about it next week. And it was a really unhealthy addiction, not only to work, but to doing all of the things and feeling like I constantly had to evolve at such a rapid pace. And I couldn't stop to listen to myself. I couldn't stop to enjoy the poppadom. I couldn't stop because I had to keep going. I was on this like hamster wheel of my own creation. And that was like the overworking hustle culture blonde version of me that thought we have to do this, it's going well, the recurring revenue is coming in. How do we do something better? And not realizing that the answer could be completely divine and profound and just be like, it's temple service. It is temple service, baby. It is taking care of people. That's how we do better. How do we take better care of people? How do we see people deeper? How do we help people more? And the money comes. So, three things that helped me go from like this overworking blonde. If you're stuck in that rut of like, I constantly have to do things, more things, better things, be perfect. If you're stuck there, or if you're feeling like I'm so out of whack, I'm in this gray area, I have no idea what I'm doing, and you're Googling, who am I? That was really the journey that I went on. I went on this deep journey of self discovery of like, who am I? Who am I? Full blown Scottish witch. This is what the red hair's given us. But I went on this journey, and these are the three things that really, really helped throughout. There was so much, but if I was to give you it in three steps, the first step was awareness of conditioning. And I stopped automatically thinking I was the problem. So, conditioning is just essentially what stories we tell ourselves from what we see around us. So I was seeing around me people building businesses and working all the time and doing all the things. So I thought I had to be like that. And that was success. And that was how I was going to get to wherever it was that I wanted to go. And I just had to be the little engine that could and keep going, keep going, keep going. And it would eventually happen. And I just had to keep pushing beyond my limits and it would happen. But now I know that to be absolutely not true. And that I actually need to sit and listen to myself, listen to that intuition, listen to that voice that's telling me what I should do, where I should go, who I should meet, who I should deeply connect with. When I listen to that, things go better because I read this, or did I hear it in a podcast? I believe I heard it in a podcast. And it was shame is the difference between our soul and our conditioning. So I had this part of my soul that was like, you should build differently. And then my conditioning was saying, do all of these things that all of these books are telling you to do. And I just felt so shameful. I was so ashamed in the middle because it wasn't working to the degrees that I thought it should. It wasn't six figures in 60 minutes. And I just thought that, oh, the problem's me, it's my fault. I'm in the way. And I think a lot of personal development can make you feel like that. It can make you feel like you have to take all the responsibility and sort your shit out because you're the fucking problem. And it's like, what if I'm not the problem? Has anyone stopped to consider, like, what if I'm not the problem? That was what I learned from conditioning and really going deep into my conditioning. So, my conditioning was very resonant with not feeling like I belonged, not feeling loved, feeling very alone, feeling weird, and those not being good things. So, maybe if you're feeling similarly, you're not the problem. Let's move on. Because the second thing you have to do after that is you have to overcome a lot of fear because you're being told, whether it's by society, social media, parents, family, friends, partner, whomever might be in your life, these are all people that contribute to conditioning. To go against that is terrifying. I got this tattoo. I love sharks. This has so much meaning. I'm not even going to go into it. If you want to know the story of the sharks, literally just DM me shark and I will then create a conversation out of just sharks. But I remember being like, my sister has a tattoo. My parents are going to hate this. They're going to be so disappointed in me. I've always said I'm never going to get one because I never wanted to go against them. And to overcome that fear and to then go and get a tattoo was such a huge milestone for me. And it sounds absolutely ridiculous, like as it should be, my body, my choice. This was my choice. I should be able to do what I want. and I felt like I couldn't because of the conditioning. And whether the conditioning was accurate, sometimes that's not even the things they say. When my parents found out my tattoo, my mom was like, "Oh, I love it." My mom was like, "Oh, it's interesting. You said you were never gonna get one." And I was like, "I thought you hated them. I thought I was gonna get cast out the tribe." Nope. Nope. Nothing happened. No one's freaking out. No one's disappointed. Shocking, I know. So you do have to like overcome the fear. And this is something I got from being quiet and sitting with myself is I had this phrase come to me, and something else that I've started doing, this is a complete side note. If you're interested, again, just DM me. But I love like intentional work with divine influences, deities, and Bridget as a goddess comes in for me very clearly. And I was doing a meditation with her, and I just thought to myself, or she told me, whatever way you want to see it, without fear, you'd do it. Without fear, I would. I would do all the things that I'm putting off. Whether that is messaging someone back on social media, getting the tattoo, or dyeing my hair red. Without fear, I'd do it. So I just started doing all these things when I started to feel the fear come up. And fear is not just, it doesn't just look like being scared. Fear was, you know, whenever I felt overly stressed and I thought if I take on this extra thing, I won't be able to cope. And it was like, well, without fear, I probably would do that. So it comes in mysterious ways, but I label it all as fear. And a new lens that I've been using that's been really helpful with overcoming fear has been I can be scared tomorrow. I can just put that off till tomorrow. Today, I'm going to do it, but tomorrow I can be scared about it. It's been massively healing because if you just stay with the awareness of conditioning and you don't take action to overcome the things that you're scared of, then you can't show yourself that actually those things, they didn't even matter. Those things are made up stories that you're telling yourself. And if everything is interpretation, my friends, then nothing can be wrong. No matter who is telling you that it might be wrong, if that even happens, because in my lived experience, that is not what has happened. And the third thing that I really leaned into was healing my masculine energy. Since I began this journey of coaching for myself, I had been on this journey of like healing the feminine. Like it's your feminine that needs to be healed. And I've been on courses and courses about feminine energy and how to connect with it. And I've done all the dances and the meditations and the rituals and the things that you can think of, and the retreats and the breath works and the spending time with myself and everything. Everything, even like healing my hormones and my connection to my body and pleasure, all the things. And it was never the freaking problem. My problem was my masculine energy. And we don't think that because we think, oh, but you're doing all the things. It's directional. You're doing. That's the masculine. But the masculine energy is of deep service. The work that you must do must be of deep service. You are the only person who can determine what deep service is to you. Maybe that's in correlation to your purpose, your passion, what you want out of life, whether it is your, need to provide, whatever it might be. But when I started healing the masculine energy in me, then things really started to shift again because I thought, I've been looking at things so wrong, or I've been seeing things wrong for my interpretation of wrong, right? I'm not saying you're wrong or bad, I'm just using that word. I had been seeing it as if I was having this problem. It was because I wasn't feminine enough and I needed to invite in more pink and flowers and all the things. And I love all that stuff. But actually, what I had to invite in was more focus and intention around deep service and how I'm actually helping people. And since I have done that, I swear, honestly, there's not a day goes by that I'm not finished work by like 4 o'clock now. And it used to be I would be sitting till 9 o'clock sometimes. And it is just this commitment to deeply serving our community and being committed to different practices that I do, whether that is checking in on my community, whether it's our lead generation system, whether it's getting our emails out there, whether it's recording things like this, there's just such a different connection. And over the next few weeks on this show, we'll go deeper into each of these because I know this was very much contextual and high level was like little sprinklings of these. But I wanted to give you a little bit of hope because it's not just a one and done, but there are things that can genuinely shift your life. And alongside these three steps, my main learning was intention. And the intention today was to really support you to move towards feeling like you aren't the villain in your life, that you could actually be the hero of your story. And that there is always hope, no matter how dire the circumstances for the hero, to rise up, to reinvigorate your business, to reinvigorate your life, and to actually live a life that you really enjoy and you want to get up in the morning for, and you wake up and you're happy and you're not stressed and you're not freaking out because you have to do something you don't want to do that day. Like you're actually of deep service and you're excited and you're present and your life gets to look how you want it to look. There is ways to do that, my friends, and I believe that these three tips are, the starting point, and we'll go further into depth in the next few weeks. And I do feel like if this conversation has felt like a vibe to you, then please do come to our next CEO Crowd networking event. You can take the mic and promote your business as well as share your thoughts on topics like this. We have kind of half networking, half connection with the community, and we'd love to see you there. The links are in the description. And until next week, where we explore this even further, we'll be over here believing in you.